All right, there's a lot of gear manufacturers out there making cloned gear. Let's say, for example, cloned of an 1176, an LA2A, a Neve preamp, a 1084 mic pre / EQ, blah, 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 all the things in there that people have done cloned gear on. API, Cappy does a lot of stuff on API stuff. And so, oftentimes you see people like me online kind of comparing, the cloned gear to the original. And I think to some degree, there's some deceptive, unintentional, but some deceptive signals being sent about what to realistically expect. So when you're looking, like I had somebody chime in on one of my videos, and I'll be honest with you, when I see this, it drives me absolutely nuts. I just want to shake it like, look, buddy, what in the world are you thinking? Are you serious with that question? Because I do like to get engaged as much as I can. And this happened to be on the Dockman 87, I think I did. And he said, it's all pointless unless you're comparing it to a real, U87. Duh. Are you crazy? Somebody have to be out of their freaking mind to think somebody can make a microphone for around $600 that's going to sound exactly like a renowned U87. Give me a break. Of course they can't. They can't. It's not feasibly possible. So why in the world would anybody expect that? Let me ask you, if you saw a comparison, and let's take I'll use a generic comparison that everybody's familiar with. Let's take a Warm Audio 1176 and compare it with a current Universal Audio 1176. Now, the Universal Audio one is probably 2.5 times the cost of that Warm Audio. What's the odds that Warm Audio is going to nail that exactly? I mean, do you not have realistic expectations? Think about that for a second. Just stop and think logically about that. Can you really expect that to sound exactly like that one? Well, let me share something with you. The current Universal Audio 1176, quite frankly, doesn't sound like the 1176 from back in the 70s and 80s that really made its name and really made it hugely popular and world-renowned. They don't sound like it either. I mean, it sounds good, but they don't sound like it either. And the reason, a lot of things have changed within regulations about what you can make components out of and what you can't make, and is it harmful to the environment? All these important questions that have to be asked. But you simply cannot get the same results because you have limitations that you have no control over. And so really, what are the odds of any of these sounding like each other? And here's the bigger question I've got for you. If you were to ask me, Barry, do you care if a clone sounds like the original? Is even remotely close? I don't really have to think about that. Of course I don't. Why would I care about that? That is utterly meaningless to me. I assess things with my ears, not what I read in folk gore out there, lore. I think that's what I'm looking for. I don't really care. I could care less. My question is, does it sound good to me? Can it help my mixes sound better? Famous mixers and stuff from back in the day, they never paid attention to this. They never worried about any of this nonsense. They simply used the tools that they had. So I don't really care whether it sounds like the original. Quite frankly, I think anyone who has that expectation has unrealistic expectations. So when I say that sometimes I think some videos that you see can be somewhat disingenuous, and that's when a manufacturer is trying to say, listen to this against that. Well, I'm sorry. They need to stop doing that. They just need to put the microphone they've got out there in front of it and say, this mic is designed to go in the vein of that. Pay respect to that with the limitations of the price point. What do you think about it? How do you think it sounds? I recently did one on the United Audio Twin over there, Twin 48. That thing is freaking fantastic, by the way. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. That is fantastic. It's not cheap, but it's fantastic. A heck of a bang for the buck, I'll tell you that, right? And so you've got to ask yourself what really matters here. So before I go a little bit further than this, I'm going to do some quick housekeeping because this is not going to be a super long video. In addition to the YouTube channel, I have a side business where I make custom desktop enclosures for a lot of control surfaces, a lot of other things out there. And so you can go to www.artisanwoodshed.com and check those out. What are these designed to do? They are designed to look fantastic, look fantastic and bring a bling to your studio. Absolutely. They are designed to be put at a perfect angle where you could truly see everything you need to see without feeling the need to lean over and take a look at it. And then most importantly, they are meant to provide value. These things are very reasonably priced. I make them myself in my wood shop out in my detached garage. I do it. I'm a one-man show out there and I make them. And I have a passion for woodworking like I have a passion for this. So go to www.artisanwoodshed.com. Next, you'll see over here, see this? This is my ARC controller for my RME. See how that's at an angle right there? Same thing here. Look at my Tone X pedal, right? Take a look at that Tone X pedal. You can see it right there, right? And then you can, let me get that over like that. You can see how that's in there. So you can see how that's in there at, a really great angle, enabling you to see everything on top of it. Read the LED, see the position of the dials and everything. Really makes it fantastic. And so if you notice on here on this one, I've added these little side things to stop it from going left and right. And so I'm kind of in the research and development stages. You can also see one here that I've done for, the Zen Quadro Pro from Antelope Audio, and I'm currently assessing this. I'd planned to have a video out today, but my daughter had car problems, so I've been dealing with that most of the day. And so anyway, these don't have those side things, so you don't want it kind of sliding left and right on you a little bit. You want to be able to hold that thing in place. So anyway, those are much cheaper. They're even cheaper to be able to do, and really don't require any labor on me. Once I create the design, send it to my 3D printer, boom, 5 or 6 hours later, it pops out, okay? Kind of like magic, but not really, not really. So anyway, check that out. Also affiliate links with Sweetwater and Toman. They're down in the links below. You buy anything from either one of those vendors, I get a tiny, tiny cut. You help me grow the channel. Don't make next to garbage off the YouTube channel. So that's how I make money. It's what keeps these videos coming. So back to the discussion. Seriously, whether you're trying to find an LA2A clone, whether you're trying to find an 1176 clone, whether you're trying to find a Neve clone, an API clone, a Fairchild clone, all the things out there, I'm going to tell you, don't give a darn about whether it sounds like the original or whether you hear it in that context, because that is utterly meaningless. That's kind of like trying to take a kit car that looks like a Ferrari and actually think that's going to compare to a Ferrari. It's not. Well, duh, of course not. It's a fraction of the cost. And it doesn't have the same engine in it, so for goodness sakes, come on now. Come on now. Don't make me call the stupid police on you, okay? I'm joking with that. I'm not calling anybody stupid. But some of you are sometimes. But anyway, kind of think about that for a second. Judge the gear with your ears. And if it improves the sound of your mixes in a way where you think it's beneficial, then don't really worry about how close it is to the original. I'll take a perfect example of that is the Distressor. That's probably my desert island compressor is the Distressor. It can get you in the vein of 1176 and it can do so much more. It can do so much more. But not everybody can afford the money for a Distressor, right? So sometimes you have to settle for a little bit less. Settling for less doesn't mean you're settling in tone. Sometimes it is. I did a recent video, I think I did it yesterday, about budget gear versus, kind of holding off and wait. If you haven't seen that video, you should go check that video out before you just go willy-nilly and go on Sweetwater and order something and use my link and I get a tiny cut of it. Anyway, you get where I'm going with it. So my advice to you is don't care. Just flat out don't care. Does it sound good? Yes or no? It really is that simple. It really is. Till next time, hope every one of you have a great day. Bye-bye.